we've now got a few sessions. In the next up to the coffee break, we're going to go through luxury trends, the aviation financing landscape, and matching transactions to the right registry. In a second, Ève Laurier, who's Vice President of Marketing, Communications and Public Affairs at Bombardier, is going to come up as this video plays.
An emotional day for a handful of Bombardier workers who helped put the project together.
We all know that we have the product.
There was no guarantee of success.
We have the people.
Bombardier is selling its rail division.
But we have yet to build the trust that breeds enduring success.
We want to exit commercial aviation and to concentrate on business jet.
Pure play business. The once giant company will only make business jets.
Signaling a moment in time that something's changed, and that doesn't necessarily mean losing who we've been, but it's actually more about the next chapter. So it's that balance of old and new. You have to really know who a company is and where they've been, and in the case of Bombardier, it's such a rich and interesting history. Also seeing where you're going, and I think that was really the thing where it just made so much sense.
There's the Mach. You can feel it. Definitely went Mach 1 there.
There was a diagram of the supersonic flight. There's like the wind over the wing.
There's wind, there's thrust, there's wings, there's a plane.
Like all of these things, and then you start to put them together and see where are the stories that are going to help tell the story of being in air altitude.
We are not seen as a corporation, we are seen as being a family, and we celebrate the people, we celebrate their excellence. From $200 million of EBITDA in 2020 to more than $1.2 billion last year, so 6 times more.
Definitely, we would not be here if, we didn't have the skills, the employees that help us to achieve what we've been able to achieve over the years.
Creating the right atmosphere for people to innovate, and that's what I think we've accomplished.
And you really like that video because the share price starts going up when you joined the company in mid-2021, doesn't it?
Is this on? Yeah. So hi everybody. Nice to see everyone. Actually, the share price yesterday, did you see what it was? 194, 195, something like that. So keeps on going up.
Well, let's see where it is at the end of the session. Have you enjoyed working at? You joined in 2001.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying it?
Look at my smile. Yes, it's the best gig in the world, especially that, I'm a French Canadian. So this company, when every single time I see Laurent Baudouin talk at the end of that video, like to me and to the 19,000 employees at the company, like this is part of the purpose, right? Like Bombardier, if you're a Canadian, is part of a heritage. And it had a moment in time that it was very hard to watch. And I wasn't working at that company then. And I was the general manager of a PR firm criticizing the company in media a lot. And then when Pierre Baudouin and Eric called me, they said, instead of criticizing it from the outside, why don't you come and help us do something about it? And that was the yes moment for me. And I'm very, very glad and humbled and proud to be part of this company and the changing history and the new narrative.
And your timing was spot on.
The time, it's all about Eric Martel. I mean, he picked a good team and we play well together, and we all so wanted this company to come back and to shine the way it was in the past. And I think we're all giving it our 150,000% every single day. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about trends and branding. What are the key luxury trends you see out there?
I mean, there's many. I would say wellness is the one that we hear the most about. And it's funny because I was telling my colleagues, and hi, many of you are here today, I'm typically come to Singapore with my CEO on a Global 7500, and typically as soon as I exit that aircraft, I'm up, I'm running, either I go for a run or I go to work, and there was no way today I was going to be able to do that. I needed to go to the hotel and rest because flying commercial is not the same experience coming to Singapore and being on a global. So well-being, so the quality of the air and how many times the air changes in the cabin, the lighting system, the nuage seat, the cabin pressure, all of that is so important. Sustainability, I mean, we all hear about sustainability a lot, but what's amazing beyond SAF, and you've probably spoken about SAF today in these conferences, we talk about SAF a lot, sustainable materials and how incredibly innovative they are right now. And we have a team dedicated to sourcing sustainable materials. And just last week, I was with them and with Eric and a few executives, and we were trying to test leather made out of cactus or other types of vegetable vegan leathers versus traditional leather. And it was so tough to distinguish between both. Same for veneer. Choosing the fabric of that goes in the aircraft can be all sustainable right now, and you're not compromising anymore. You're just making a choice, but the quality and the luxury feel is just the same. So I would say well-being, sustainability, and of course, digital. So you've got to be hyper-digital, hyper-connected, hyper-technological.
And on the connected side, let's not talk about Starlink.
No, please don't make me talk about that. I'm not the expert, although I could do the pitch, but that's it.
You've had to adapt, haven't you, as a manufacturer? In the past, you wouldn't have been on Instagram. You wouldn't be showing videos of, I don't know, Toto Wolff.
Yeah. That was one of the things. It's so important. Branding is important. Like in the OEM world, and I'm sure there's other OEMs here today, not just Bombardier, but we all make great airplanes. So you have to have a story to tell that's different and that's unique and that's in your DNA and that nobody can copy because it's authentic. And you have to tell that story. And right now, the best way to tell that story is social media. Traditional media has become weaker, not because it's not interested, is because...
we've got a magazine, don't you? Yeah.
No, I know, I have a magazine too. But you know what I mean? Like, people don't go to traditional media as much anymore. They're in a mega crisis. So social media is where you control your narrative, and there's so many different platforms. And when I got to Bombardier, like many other companies, there was no social media, or it was shut. There was actually policies against posting on social media. And now I have, we put a advocacy tool where all of our employees go and they pick the video they want and it shoots on the platform that they want. So we're actually really helping and empowering all of our employees to pick what you like, and we're not going to control what you say about it. Just go and tell your family, tell your friends, tell your community that this is where you work and this is why you're proud and this is what we do. So, yeah.
And do you accept that occasionally someone's going to make a mistake?
Yeah, of course. But it's rare that people, what's a mistake? Like, yes, some people can make huge judgment mistakes and you wonder as a professional, like, what were you thinking? But otherwise, are they using their own words? Yes. Would those words be your words if you were writing that? No. But that's not the point. That point is it aligned with the values of the company? And is it authentic? And is it engaging? And if yes, then you get a high five from me and a free cap and a T-shirt once in a while or whatever. You've seen our new bags. If you have not, go to my Instagram. You get a new bag.
And half the people in the room are going, great, this is exciting. The other half, I'm guessing, we could put it to a vote, are sitting there going, no one is going to buy a jet because of social media.
So it's funny because when we started really branding and marketing and all of that, I started speaking to other luxury products, like really, really high-end, or even banks of like billionaires and stuff like that, and they all do marketing. So I'm like, there must be a reason why you're all doing marketing, but the phrase is influence the influencers. Like, the billionaires still get influence, and I say billionaires because ultra high net worth individuals that buy a global typically are billionaires. They get influenced by influencers who follow brands. So when we don't market in a country where a client sees an ad of a competitor, I get an email from them or a text from them saying, why aren't you there? Like, I love this plane, I love this company. Why am I seeing your competitor? I want you to show up. Like, I need you to raise your voice. I chose you, so you're not credible if you're not present, and start making noise. And so they actually, customers were the first reason why Eric, our CEO, gave me the opportunity to rebrand the company and really start marketing. It was our clients saying, I want to see the company that I chose more often.
What do you want someone to think of when they see the Bombardier brand?
Everything you saw, I mean, what did you see in that video? Let me ask you that question.
No, I'm asking the questions. Heritage and Canadian.
Okay, interesting. Any other words? Thank you. And you know, there's a lot of critics out there that say, companies, they shouldn't say that they're family. And I always say, we don't say we're family. We're not a family, we're a company. But we're like family. And recently, I had Harvard professors, 2 strategy professors from Harvard MBA school coming and doing a tour. And they were very critical. I mean, they're amazing professors, but they were like, you say like family, you know, we are kind of against that at Harvard. Companies are not family, blah, blah, blah. It's fine. So I take them through the global. I take them through the Challenger. I take them through where people are actually sewing and cutting the leather. And after 4 hours, they were like, there's an energy, you know, there's a vibe. And I'm like, yeah, what's the vibe? And they were like, you're like a family. And I was like, that's right, that's it. So passion, I think family, you know, they're not always agreeing with one another, you know, but they're passionate, right? So we are, and maybe that's the Canadian, French Canadian, but very passionate, very proud, very engaged. So that's, and then of course you saw the skidoo, right? So J. Armand Bombardier invented the snowmobile, right? So this company's DNA is about entrepreneurial, inventing new things, and changing communities. And so hopefully that's what you got in that video.
And it nearly went bankrupt when Canada started gritting roads, didn't it?
Yeah, they went, and I think any company, it's probably been 85 years that the company exists now. You go through ups and downs, and then we're so proud that the family, because it's a public company, but the family's majority shareholder, they never gave up. They never gave up, and look at us today.
So you looked at, and your background is in branding and communications. Which brands would you like to see Bombardier, you know, I think I can guess, but which luxury brands would you like Bombardier to be up there with?
That's so when I did the rebranding, there was, so when you do an agency brief, good companies that do an agency brief, it's actually a 1-pager, and then companies that are not used to working with agencies, they give like a brief of 30 pages, right? My brief was 1 image. So it was the old Bombardier logo, which is not really a logo. It just says Bombardier in like capital letters. So I was like, first of all, this is not a logo. And then on the left, it was all of you guys. So all the OEMs, any aviation, private aviation company. And then on the right, I had Riva, Patek Philippe, Four Seasons, Ferrari, Goldman Sachs, Mercedes. So some of those, I won't name the ones I didn't put there. I don't want to offend anybody. But those craftsmen, heritage, respected brands that go well through time, I think. And Four Seasons, for example, because what is luxury? It's not just the product, it's the service. And it's always, always being consistent in being best service, right? Best customer experience. That's Four Seasons. I mean, if you've stayed in the Four Seasons, normally you should never get disappointed because they kind of invented the roadmap to customer journey. So I put them there specifically to say, we're not just about selling a product, we're also about engaging with customers at every single touch point, and this is 4 seasons. And this is why we were 2nd year in a row AIN #1 and ProPilot this year. Thank you very much. Key message has been sent.
Did you choose Patek Philippe not because of the brand, but purely because they have a waiting list?
Yeah, that's called a backlog, right? And because, but the Patek Philippe is such a good, you're going to see in about a month time now, the new global campaign for the Global 8000. And I specifically headhunted the creative director of the Patek Philippe ads. He's a gentleman, I don't want to insult him, but he's in his 70s for sure. He's from London, but because advertising for private aviation tends to be 100% about the product and a ton of product shots and product attributes. And if you're looking at real luxury brands, that's not how they advertise. And Patek Philippe did it so well. I forget the.
No, it's going to be.
It's not about owning a.
You don't own a Bombardier. You just look after it for the next generation.
So you know the phrase I'm referring about. So that's my North Star, that kind of positioning.
One of the big trends that, and actually in luxury, is that it's not about the product, it's about the experience. And you've touched on this. That's really interesting, isn't it? Because when you think of taking, going to buy a watch or a handbag is a pleasurable experience. Getting a windscreen fitted because it's cracked isn't a fun experience on your global.
It's about yeah, when you take your car to the garage, it's the same thing, but you can have a good experience or a bad experience. And I was looking at your question and I was reflecting on also the fact that some businesses, companies, whether in aviation or not, they do a really good job when it comes to the principle, like the person that's going to pay and buy the product and the asset. But then when that person goes away, there's other people in the ecosystem of that person, and they don't get the consistent same quality of service. And that's just a brand killer, because that just shows that it's not deeply rooted in your DNA, this like customer service. And that's what we work so hard on. So whether it's you or your director, you meeting the Patek Philippe owner and the billionaire, or your director of maintenance coming to a service center, you should always leave feeling more energized. You were treated well, the parts were available, people were expecting you, we knew what you were coming in for, and we were ready for you. And then the other thing that in that video you don't see, but that's true about Bombardier, is entrepreneurial spirit means agile. And so in the servicing, it's critical that we're like problem solvers and quick to return the customer or the team back in their aircraft to the skies and being productive again. That's a true luxury experience. What I don't get about luxury brands right now, if I go buy a handbag, which I don't, but it's not my thing, but is like waiting for somebody to come and speak to me, waiting in line to pay for it. Like that would never fly. We have to be fast and agile.
One of the things that all of the OEMs have is once you've got a customer, you're all very good at keeping them. Mm-hmm. There's a great loyalty between, and partly because you have a pilot issue as well, which is weird. When you have pilots are extremely loyal, aren't they, to their manufacturer, and they influence the. How do you, raise that loyalty, the retention rate?
I mean, I think it's part of the DNA again. From a marketing standpoint, I've got dedicated teams to both. So and even from a budget perspective, now I'm oversharing, but it's fine. There's no more. I'm happy to share this, but when I walked into Bombardier and I saw my assets and my budget, I realized it was all towards helping sell aircrafts and, hooking that ultra high net worth individual. And now it's not that anymore. I would say it's half-half. So service center and pilots and director of maintenance and how we speak to them, how we engage with them, the customized events we do for them, the gifting we do for them, like all of it is at your altitude, which is our kind of internal North Star, just like it's always been for the end customer. And so right now I have like 50% of my budget and my team are either dedicated to one side of the business or the other side of the business. And then the brand team sits at the top and makes sure that's there's a consistent branding journey between those two parts of my organization, and it works really well.
But I don't want to be rude to Patek Philippe, but they're just selling watches, and you've got your customers are their customers are individuals. You've got corporate customers, you've got military customers, you've got customers in Indonesia, customers in fleet customers, with an announcement coming soon, and customers in Vietnam, customers in Argentina. Like, how do you culturally adapt or keep the same message?
So you're on the road all the time. That's one of the things. And you have people that are in those regions feeding you. So you have a very strong centralized brand, and the assets all sit right underneath me in Montreal. But then regional people pull on me for what they need, and we adapt and we push it back to their market, and we trust them that they know what they need to be doing. So we're not set in stone and not adaptable. Au contraire, we're highly adaptable. And that's very important, yeah.
And when you look at other business aviation companies, and we don't have to talk about your competitors, but when you look at others, are you seeing other business aviation companies go, experience, make it about the experience of owning and enjoying an asset?
Yeah, I think we all have to do that. I think what's the most important thing, and I'm going back to the video that I just showed, is you have to, okay, so just that logo. So a brand is not a logo, right? Like a logo is part of a brand, is just an asset, but that logo took 18 months to do, 18 months. I was sure I was going to get it done in 3. And when I told Eric Martel, hey, Eric, in about 2 weeks, I'll have a logo for you. And he looked at me and he's like, I don't even want to see it. That's impossible. Take your time, do the work, go analyze. You haven't spoken to enough clients. You haven't spoken to enough employees. You need to speak to retired people. You need to speak to interns. You need to speak to clients that have a first jet, clients that went to the competition. So it was 6 months of just listening to finally be able to do that brief and start working with the agency. So you got to do a lot of work to figure out what precisely your DNA is. And then you start building the building blocks. So even though all the OEMs are on the same journey that we are at Bombardier, the way and the output will be different because we are different companies and we have a different DNA. So it doesn't scare me that we're all in the same landscape. What's important to me is that every single step we take to add something to the brand story is rooted in something that's been researched and analyzed, and it's all based on the customer and the employees.
What surprised you about business aviation?
How many men there are?
Was that really a surprise?
No, it's right? Because every time I see women in the front, I'm like, hi, I see you. No, but it's changed a lot in the past 5 years, honestly. What a small community it is also. It's big, but it's small. I travel the world all the time, and we bump into each other all the time. So, and I will say something maybe controversial. I don't think it's controversial, but when I was in PR, I was the general manager or the president of Edelman, which is a huge American PR company, and I was in charge for Quebec. And the best practice was for competitors to spend some time together in industries and collaborate on matters, right? And I've worked with other industries that are as competitive as this one. This is not unique. I'm just still shocked that we're not there in this industry. It's not a criticism, it's just we're not there. I was used to sitting with my direct competitor, CMO at whatever company I was at, and not oversharing, but trying to solve things together more often. And also sharing. I mean, just giving you an example, there are some good journalists out there, and there's some bad journalists out there. And as an industry, I would love to be able to not have a problem sharing that, to say, if this person calls you, it's not going to be what you think it's going to be. Watch out. Like, I'm used to having more dialogue. And then in this industry, for some reason, it's like, no. Okay. Maybe we'll change it.
This is a silly question.
No, there's no silly questions.
No, there can be.
Maybe. I'll tell you if it is.
From a marketing point of view, do you look at Global 7,000, Global 8,000, Global 6,500 as boring? The numbers.
They don't make much sense to me. Now they do, because Global 8,000 nautical miles. Sometimes I wonder, Challenger Global, like, should we all have just numbers that follow? But it makes sense to the industry, so it makes sense to me. So it's fine. Yeah. But it's a good question.
No, I just think from the outside.
Yeah.
And from the outside, no one knows what a super mid-size.
No, yeah. It's there's room for creativity in the industry, definitely. Even like paint schemes. Sometimes I walk through service centers and I'm like, it's always like the lines, and I'm gonna start criticizing my own industry. I don't want to do that. But there's room for creativity, that's for sure.
Yeah. And then sometimes.
And more women. I said it twice.
I don't think anyone's.
Yes.
Do we have any old school questions or comments? Sorry, I wasn't. Do we have any old school people in the room?
No, exactly. Now everybody's like, I'm not old.
Does anyone want to ask a question or comment in the room? What's next?
The Global 8,000. So now I'm going to become I've become an aviation person, I think. So thank you, first of all. That is one thing about the industry. People were so generous with me, and there was a lot to learn in this industry. So now I'm become like really passionate about the plane itself, and the Global 8,000 for us. You're going to see a video soon. I think that will be our closing, but being part of the launch of a new aircraft that goes so fast and so far, and meeting the engineers behind and how they get the performance, and it's just incredible. So I can't wait for us to be on that global stage and press the button and say, ladies and gentlemen, here's the Global 8,000 nautical miles. And then the rest I'm not going to tell you, because there's a press announcement coming soon.
You just told us to be more open.
No, but I need to keep my pitch for the journalists, and I need you guys to be like on social media. Hopefully you follow us. Bombardier Jets, LinkedIn is huge, Instagram, but it's, we want to give you a solid emotion. So we've been working on it really for a year, just on the comms and marketing, and hopefully you'll get even if you're a competitor, you're going to be happy for us.
Okay, and on that, let's run the video. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So today makes a major milestone for our site. Better get going, because there's an important flight about to happen.
From planning to production, from methods to logistics, this is your achievement.
This is a proud moment for all of us, and I'd like to thank all of you for all the hard work that you've put into making this happen.
Every one of you plays a crucial role in bringing this Global 8,000 to life.
Congratulations to everyone shaping the next chapter of business aviation.
We're going to open the doors. We're going to ask the other 2,000 people in the facility to come and join us.
This is what you guys have done, and
we'll be part of history.
Here it is. The fastest civil aircraft since the Concorde. Look at the amount of people that have invested time, effort, expertise, skill, innovation in this product, and really this product is a testament to all of the hard work of the teams.
And we got the perfect people to celebrate an amazing milestone for Bombardier and aerospace.